I get so caught up in the middle, thinking of drowning in those blue eyes.
Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into my weekly check-in. We're weekly checking in for the month of March on the 7th through the 13th, and I have all my expenses that happen here listed on this calendar. This is my daily spending, and as you can see, Saturday was a very heavy spending day, and it's an exciting day because my son and I went to Lexington Con here in Lexington, Kentucky, and had an amazing time. So I will have story time for you guys here in a second. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. And just to let you know, if you've not seen my other videos, I do monthly budgets, paycheck to paycheck, weekly check-ins, sinking funds, which I'm getting ready to put a video out the next day or two for that. And then I close out my videos or close out my budgets at the end of the month, and then I start the new month. So that is what I have going on right now. Again, we went to Lexington Con. If you know me, if you've been on my channel a while, you know I love going to these cons with my son. We've been doing it ever since 2017. Normally we did it in Raleigh, North Carolina. We don't live near there anymore, so we are in Kentucky, and the closest one that we seem to have been enjoying was Lexington Con. So let's take a look at who my son and I saw this weekend. So I want to show you my pictures. I have to. You guys are my friends and family, so guess what? If I was experiencing it, you get to see it. So I went to Lexington Con. I met Lou Diamond Phillips. This was like the best ultimate experience I could have had. We had some conversations about some of the TV shows he's done, and we just started, laughing and really having a good time and talking. When he came around the corner, he took a photo with me, and he just gave me the biggest bear hug ever. So this is me laughing while he's hugging, in disbelief that this is happening. He took a picture with me and my son. Let's see if I can get it to turn around. There we go. And that's my son. And yeah, it was just really cool. He's smiling, had a great time, all of that. And this one, when me and my son were in them together. So this is Danny Trejo. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a really cool guy. Has a great story. We wanted the photo because my sons and I love The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, the Star Wars series on Disney Plus, and all that stuff. And he was in the Book of Boba Fett. So anytime there's a character that's at these cons, or a person at these cons that was a character in one of those shows, we go and get their autograph. So that's why we got Danny Trejo there. And then I met Jonathan Silverman. You may not know him, but he's an 80s actor. If you ever seen the movie Weekend at Bernie's, you'll know what I'm talking about. He was in it, and so was Andrew McCarthy. I got their autographs. So I got his. Oops. And there's Andrew McCarthy. I didn't realize they took it that way. He would not smile for me. I was not happy about him. And you can see all these people around. It's packed. It's great, but we had a good time. This is William Sadler. He was on a TV show called Roswell, and it was a high school teen drama, but it was really good, and I enjoyed that in the early 2000s. So next we have some wrestlers. My son loves wrestling, and he already met Ron Simmons before, but Ron Simmons and Bradshaw Layfield, or JBL, actually were a tag team, and they were together at the con, so he got a couple pictures with them, and it was really cool. Here we met Gray. I can't remember her last name. She's a voice actor, and she's dressed up as one of her characters. And my son wanted her autograph. I can't remember what show it was that she did. But anyway, she was doing her voice act. She was doing all the voices of the characters while we were there, and it was so much fun to meet her. And I did not know. I was listening to her all my kids' life because both my sons love Scooby-Doo, and she's the voice of Daphne. For the last 6 years, she's been the voice of Daphne. So I was like, I can't believe it. I never really looked up voice acting before, and my son loves voice actors. So I was like, this is amazing. I've been listening to you my whole kids' lives, and they love the cartoons, and I still love Scooby, one of my favorites. This is a female wrestler. I can't remember her name, but she was really cool. She took my phone and did a selfie with Justin, which was cute. And that's that same photo. And then this is me and my son just kind of messing around. He met Maylee Flanagan, I think is how you say her name. And she's a voice actor. And then we met Nolan North. He was really cool. He did a whole bunch of funny faces with Justin. We had a great time. And then this guy voiced Ninja Turtles, Pinky and the Brain, and Animaniacs. And my husband loved the Animaniacs when the boys were young, so that was cool. And I think this is Billy West, another voice actor. So that is everybody that we saw. We had the best time and really enjoyed that. So now that story time's over and you know exactly what happened that weekend, and this will kind of explain some of the purchases. Most of the purchases that we did at the con were cash. We did cash. I always pay autographs with cash. That cash is king at these cons if you ever do one. And it's hard to go to an ATM because they run out of money sometimes during these events. So I actually make sure I have all the cash beforehand. My son saves up his money for his autographs, and he was kind enough to spot me a couple autographs this year. I have to repay him by not charging him so much rent. I'll still charge the same rent. I'll just put the cash aside and give it to him later. But for right now, yeah, borrowed some money to get a couple of those autographs. It was so much fun though. And he didn't mind. He actually had money left over. It wasn't like he was hurting or anything like that. But I always pay for lunch and I always pay for parking and any little essentials like that. So that's what you're going to see here in the budget as far as the con goes. But everything else was done in cash, and we had cash on hand to do it all. So let's go ahead and get started with the weekly check-in. I'm finally getting to use my Erin Condren long notepads. I bought this in, I guess, last year for whenever they do their 35% off, usually around Black Friday and stuff like that. And when I order my notebooks and things like that. So this is what I'll be using going forward instead of taking the other sheet and folding it in half like I was doing before. I miss using these, but I was disciplined enough to use all the things I had, stationery wise, before I started to use in new stuff. So I'm happy with that. So grocery household, we spent about average. This is probably a pretty average week for us, even with a little bit of extras of eating out. We did go over in eating out for the week and the paycheck period, but I still have plenty for the rest of the month, so we should be okay. And we went over in miscellaneous, and I'll talk about that later. So grocery household. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. I don't normally have story time, but I couldn't help it. It just happened this week and I'm still excited. I always start with grocery household, which is in pink here, restaurants in blue, miscellaneous in this mint green, and then gas is in orange, copays in purple, and unbudgeted that comes out of the buffer of the checking account, which I don't really have much, is in yellow. And thankfully we did not do that this time. So here we have Friday, the 7th, that's where we're starting, the 7th through the 13th, and we spent $45.49 on grocery household. This was what I call a coupon shopping day, so I had some really good coupons come in the mail, physical coupons, and they tied in with coupons I had on my app on my phone for my grocery store, and I just went ahead and bought those coupon items and stocked up on a few things, and it was $45.49. Even if I didn't need it, I went ahead and stocked up on it, so that worked out pretty good. And then I won't have to do it later because I keep forgetting to use the paper coupons. I'm great with the electronic ones. If it's on my app, I can definitely do it, but if it's on paper, I forget to use them. Next, I have Amazon $23.28, and those are some supplements I needed. My husband went to the grocery store and picked up some 2 containers of ham salad, small containers, and they usually last him about a week, and it's $11.98. And that's how he makes his lunches is ham salad sandwiches, or we'll fix chili for the week and he'll take warm chili, and it works out really well for him to change it up that way. He's always on the road, and not everywhere he goes has like, because these are like towns that are small towns, and it's not always easy to find a place to get lunch. So he just, once he gets to a good point in his day and he's hungry, he's ready to eat, and he stops for lunch, and before he does his reports out in the field, how he works, he can just grab his lunch pail and eat, because there may not be a restaurant nearby to grab something to eat. And it's healthier not to go out to eat every day for lunch. So that is that. Amazon, $20.12. So that was mouthwash. Okay. My son has dry mouth, so he uses the Biotin mouthwash, and it's a couple dollars cheaper on Amazon, and we don't pay shipping, so it just comes right to the house, and it's cheaper than the grocery store, so it works for me. Next, I have Meyer Groceries. So this was grocery pickup, and I got meats, milks, drinks, bread, cereals, things like that, eggs, all of that. All of it pricey. Specific things for different meal planning ideas. Like I'm going to fix carne asada, kind of a Mexican dish this weekend. So I needed a specific type of meat for that. I needed like some limes and some odds and ends stuff, cilantro and stuff that I don't normally buy regularly. I bought that, and that's going to be for this weekend. And then here, and that was $168.45. And then here, $107 was a pantry stock up and freezer stock up. So I got, things that you normally store in your pantry for box meals or canned goods, broths and things like that, and then what my family keeps frozen, like fries, and what else do we have in there? Shrimp and nuggets and stuff like that. So the large quantities of those. And that was $107.11. I always try to keep coupons with all this as much as I can, and that usually works out pretty good. So let's go ahead and total up how much we spent on grocery household in total for the week, and that way we know what we have to pay back the credit card. Everything on here, if you're new, goes onto a credit card, and every week I go and make that payment on everything I actually spent. Now I do have other things on the credit card, and I will be talking about that another day when I have time to make an extra video, but for right now, we're just doing a weekly check-in. So I'm going to total these up, and I'll be right back. Okay, for the week we spent $376.43, which is pretty good, pretty average for us. Maybe a little more than I had hoped, but I think we're still good for the rest of the month. Actually, I think we're right to the penny almost, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll check that when I do my paycheck 2, which is the next video coming up. I'll be closing out paycheck 1 and setting up paycheck 2 and getting all the numbers. And I think what I have planned for week 3, week 4, and the partial at the end of the month, I think we're going to be good as far as grocery household. So as long as I stick to what I have, we should be fine. So I'm excited about that. I didn't realize how close I was, but looking at my numbers off to the side, I think we're good. So this is pretty good. Restaurants, I know I'm definitely over, so I got to figure out how that's going to be covered. So the first thing I have here is $6.99. I got invited to meet a friend at Panera, and we just sat and talked for a while. It was really, really good. Then that morning for brunch kind of thing. And then that evening I ordered the family pizza, $51.09, 2 medium pizzas and a side of cheese sticks. And that worked out pretty good. Then the con. So the Lexington Center that we were at, we ate lunch there. They had amazing pulled pork sandwiches, barbecue stuff, and my son and I got that for lunch, and chips and a cookie and 2 drinks. So that's what we did there. It was $22.15. And I always buy our lunch when we go there, go to these things. the next thing I have was $20.65. So my husband and my other son were still home. They didn't go with us, and they had McDonald's for dinner that evening. And then on the way back from Lexington to where we live, because we don't live that close to it, it takes a while to get home, I stopped at a Wendy's and picked up 2 orders of nuggets and fries, and that was $19.91. And there we go. That was a lot more eating out than we're used to, but we didn't eat out throughout the week, which was good, because sometimes throughout the week I don't want to cook too. So if I'm not having a good week, sometimes I just do eating out. And we didn't do it this week, so I was very thankful for that. So let's see how much we actually spent. All right, we actually spent $120.79. I was hoping to do $100 a week, or a little less, but with the event that weekend, I don't think we did too bad. $20.79 over what I hoped, and saying yes to an opportunity to meet a friend and things like that was important. So yeah, I think we did pretty good. The only thing extra was the eating out here and the eating out there. This usually is normal, combined there, so that's fine. Next thing we're going to do is miscellaneous. So I did put the parking at the con for $27 under miscellaneous. I could have put it under transportation. It doesn't matter. I mean, right now miscellaneous is over for the paycheck period by $12.07, but it is under for the month. And if I don't really spend much for the rest of the month, we should be okay. But I could put this under parking, but I'm not going to, because at the end of the month, regardless of what the number is in all 6 or 5 of these categories that I have a budget for, unbudgeted does not get a budget. It's a line item is all it is. And it's a way of highlighting something that was unusual. But the rest of these colors are all budgeted items. And because they're budgeted, I have to keep an eye on them. But I can also combine all 5 of those budgets together into one number and just say I'm using that one number. So it just depends on how you look at your budget. So I know if I'm over in a couple categories, we're going to be over for the month. If I'm less in another category, I know that's going to cover that cost. I just have to pay attention to what I'm doing as I go through the month. And that's what I have going on here. So $27, and then Amazon $15.89, miscellaneous, did not write that down. I think that's my husband's purchase, if I'm not mistaken. He got some fun things for himself, and I was like, okay, I had fun at the con, you can have fun shopping a little bit. I'm trying to remember what he got. Okay, I found what he got. I want to say it's called a pen punch set. It's a 14 punch remover. I'm not sure what all it does, but it helps him work on things. So that's tools. There we go. He was working on something, and yeah, that's what he got for himself. And I thought $15, not that big a deal. So $15.89 is what he spent on Amazon, and we put that obviously as a miscellaneous item, so that's there. So let's total these two up. 27 plus 15.89, and that gives us 42.89. Now, I did not include this week, and I'll include it next week. I did make a purchase at Meijer. There were a couple tops I saw that were really pretty. One of them fit right, one of them didn't. I could take one of them back. So I'm not going to mark that until next week's, even though technically I bought it here. I'm not going to put it on the calendar until tomorrow, this weekend, after it's cleared, and I can take it back and just get a refund and only put the amount that I actually spent. So once I get those numbers, I will mark that in here from budgeted. So we'll probably be over for the month. We only gave ourselves $100, and I needed an extra top, so that's okay. We'll figure it out. Gasoline was $52.26. I filled up our gas tank before we left for Lexington because it was running really low. And then that's it. That's the only time. My husband hasn't needed gas in his Jeep or for the lawnmower yet, though that is coming So this spring I'm gonna have to bump it up to $250, I think, for gas. Right now we're not even spending $200, so I'm gonna keep it at $200 until I see that bump up happen, and then we'll go from there. I had one prescription that I picked up for $5.13 for myself. And then that was that. So included in the spending is bills, and it was only 2 bills. And the way I find that is I go here. Oops, not here. Here. These are divided by 2 weeks. Week 1, this is when these come in and are charged to the credit card, and then week 2, these two. So I have HP Instant Ink for $7.41, and then YouTube Premium for $24.92. Have my weekly check-in numbers. We are going to go here and add these numbers into the weekly check-in sheet here. Oh, I forgot to total up my bills. Let's see, $7.41 plus $24.92, and that is $32.33. There we go. So I'm gonna put what was actually spent here, and then we're gonna come up with the balances and see how much we have for the rest of the month. Okay, I have already totaled all this up off camera, and I've already made the payment. I try to do it beforehand so I don't forget, because once I get done filming, I don't really want to do anything else. I'm a little tired after that. So I'm gonna put my check mark here, because these check marks mean that I have paid all of these, what was spent here on the credit card, and it was taken care of. So I wrote all the numbers down. The bills here aren't included on the weekly check-in. This is just for me to remember that these bills got charged to the credit card, and not only got charged on the credit card, I have to pay them for the week. So that's why I have them on here, and I weekly check in on those types of things. But the rest of this stuff is what happened here for the week. And so this is the spending. These are the spending categories. This is what I start with at the beginning of every month. Now, 80% of our income comes at the beginning of the month, so I pretty much have all the spending money I need. I just need to make sure I balance forward enough from the beginning of the month to the middle of the month to finish out the rest of the month for spending categories. So I have to leave enough in there to do that. And this is how I track that. That way, especially if you're only getting paid once or twice a month, it's really important to make sure to look where bills fall in those paycheck periods and what you need to spend and how you're going to get that money. Sometimes that money is just going to be sitting there from the beginning of the month, and you can't use it all. You have to save it in order to make sure you have enough money for the rest of the month. So you have to think things through critically in that way. So I have everything written down. I'm going to move this to the side here, and we're going to figure out how much is left for the month and then divide it by 2.5, I think. I don't know if it will work that way, but we'll see. The grocery household I have is $1,176.47 minus that $376.43. So that gives me $800.04, which is a really good number. It means I still have $50 left over from the first 2 weeks of the month, which is really, really good. So that $50 extra that I wasn't expecting going into paycheck 2 is actually going to help for the last 4 days of the month, because my budgets run from Friday to Thursday. At the end of this month, that still leaves 4 days left. So that might be my week 5 going into the new month. I haven't quite decided yet, but we'll see. Hopefully I can budget and carry that out for the rest of the month. So let's see if I can divide it by 2.5, 2.5 weeks. So that's $320. That doesn't make any sense. So I have 804 cents divided by 2 weeks, 400. And if I decide to keep $50 back for the last 4 days, so that'd be $750 divided by 2 weeks. I have $375 a week, and then that $50 will go to that last week. There you go. So $375 for week 3 and week 4, and then $50 for that last 3 or 4 days of the month. Then we are good to go. I think that's going to work out. So, and this is what I mean by critically thinking through what's happening now and what you know is about to happen going forward and how much time you have left. And just reference for the calendar here, my husband does get paid on the 28th. Usually these days would go into the next month, but sometimes I don't want it to because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 before the 1st. And then if you look at the next month, let's see, April, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 weeks here. I want as much maximum income here for April as I have. And if I have enough here, I don't have to use April's money to cover those last 4 days here. So we have longer months, longer time periods, and for the next few months, it's getting sunnier and we've had daylight savings, so everything's changed and everybody's tired and exhausted and cranky. I know I am. Normally, daylight savings does not bother me whether we spring forward or fall back, but this year it's really kicking my booty. So hopefully I will adjust from that soon. So I have $800 basically for the rest of the month, and I think that is fine for week 3, 4, and a few days of the rest of the month. Restaurants, that's the struggle. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But I have $277.88 that I planned. I'm taking the $120.79 I actually spent. That leaves me $157.09. Divided by 2, it's $78 a week. It's less than $100 a week. And it doesn't include the last few days of the month. And to be honest, I might not include that. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to do. I really don't know. We'll have to see what the rest of the month looks like and if another category can carry extra money for the eating out going forward. So, and we might have a little money left over in our buffer that I wasn't expecting because I budgeted high and then I adjusted the numbers. I actually started the month with 96-cent buffer and I'm up to $60 now. So I might use the buffer to cover the cost or eat the cost of overreach and eating out. So we'll see. Because I know what's going to happen. I just know our family. I know what's going to happen. All right, $80.82 minus the $42.89. We have $37.93. That's not even really worth dividing 2 weeks over because, that doesn't make any sense. So this is what we have left for the rest of the month. If I go over this, which I probably be right at it or just over it. I think we'll be okay, but I'll have to make decisions as we go. Our saving grace might be the gas for our vehicle because we had $179 minus the $52.26, and we are hovering between $50 and $55 as far as how much we need for gas. Twice a month for my vehicle, $126.74. Divided by 2 weeks, I have $63 a week, so I only need one more week or one more gas fill up before the end of the month. So it still leaves $63 left over. That will also help with the overages we'll probably have been eating out and miscellaneous. Again, this is just me talking things out. I did not get a bill yet for my son's doctor's appointment. We have $62.20. That's usually $25. If I do, that's the category it comes out of, depending on what month it pops up in. Minus the $5.13 for my pharmacy copay for my prescriptions, and that gives me $57.07. We had 0 for unbudgeted, which is good, and that is that. So I think, and I don't divide this weekly because I don't do prescriptions weekly. The only ones I really focus on weekly is grocery shopping, which is usually weekly, and eating out, which is usually weekly. The rest of this is just whenever it needs to happen. That's when I do it. But I can divide it by weeks and see if I plan to spend a little bit each week, that's where it would go. So let's go ahead and move these numbers over here. So we're set up for week 3, and that is where our beginning numbers are. Okay, so let's see what we owe the credit card and what I paid this morning before I got on here and started filming. I'm going to put these totals in and I'll be right back. All right, so the total is $629.83. So that is what we paid the credit card back, and we are good to go there. And yeah, I think overall we did a pretty good job for this weekly check-in. We splurged a little bit out of the budget, but I think overall we did pretty good, and I am happy with it. So I look forward to sharing next week's weekly check-in with you guys and see how that turns out and see how close I can keep it within budget and if I need to pull from somewhere else. And we'll go over those numbers then. I hope you enjoyed the story time at the beginning, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
I'm losing sight 'cause I am falling. I'm so deep down, and it's not a lie that I die. I can't hide.